Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. As you can probably hear, I feel like I'm over the cold now. I guess I just needed to add a couple of days of cold meds to dealing with everything. But now I think I'm mostly clear of it, so we'll go ahead with today's video. And we have a game of Field Commander Rommel in the books from last week, so today we're going to continue with my Tac Up Wargaming list this week with my first ever app-based game on the channel. Today we're going to play Star Wars Imperial Assault from Fantasy Flight Studios. In this game, we take on the role of rebel heroes after the first Death Star has been blown up, through a campaign in the Star Wars galaxy against the forces of the Empire. Unfortunately, we won't know how we complete the mission until we get further into it. But with that, let's go ahead and go meet our heroes for today. Our first hero in this game is going to be Jin Odan, the Sly Smuggler. We'll take a look at her card here. She's got 10 health, which will actually be boosted once we get into the app. 4 endurance, which is the limit of strain she can take. 5 speed, which is how many space she moves. And then her defense die. When she gets attacked, she'll defend with at least a white die, depending on... She might get other gear or stuff like that over the course of the game. Then we've got tests, I believe that's Might, Insight, and Tech. So those are the dice we'll be rolling for each of those. Her strain ability is Quick Draw. So I can give her 2 strain at the start of a hostile figure's activation to interrupt to perform an action with a pistol targeting that figure. Limit once per round, twice if I have 2 activation tokens. And as an opportunist, after I resolve an attack, if the target suffered 1 or more damage, I can move 1 space. She'll start off with, if I can get the camera to, here we go, a Vintage Blaster. It's a blaster pistol. We can attack from range, and we know that because of the gun icon on there. And we attack with 2 green dice. If we get surges, we can spend them for these effects. We can only spend them on 1 effect per attack. So 1 effect per surge, but we can only use each effect once. So 1 surge we can spend for another damage or for an accuracy. Now, accuracy is an important thing because as you'll see on the dice, as we go to roll them, I'll grab one of the green dice. You'll see numbers on here. So when we go, and I'll explain this a little bit more when we actually have it happen, but we can make a ranged attack, but we'll need to roll enough accuracy in the sum of the numbers on the dice to be able to actually have the attack hit. Like I said, that'll make more sense when we get into it. But anyway, that'll do it for Jin. Now let's go meet our next hero. Before we meet our second hero, I did want to show off Jin's mini real quick. I didn't paint these. The copy of the game I bought actually came somewhat painted, but I've been adding a lot of content to it as well. And I generally don't paint my minis, mostly because I don't have the dexterity to do that kind of fine detail. But anyway, so here's our second hero. We have Diala Pasil, the Haunted Exile. 12 health, which once again will be boosted when we get into the app. 5 endurance, so she can take a little more strain. Also 4 speed, and defends with a white die. Her might rolls a little bit better. Her insight rolls great, but her tech roll pretty much blows. So there's her mini. Her special abilities are, we have Precise Strike for 2 strain. I can use when I declare an attack with a melee weapon. Choose and remove 1 die from the target's defense pool. Limit once per activation. Then Foresight, 1 strain I can use while defending to roll 1 defense die. Then her starting item is the Plasteel Staff. It does have reach, so we can... Normally we'd have to be up on the target, up 1 space away from the target to be able to melee attack. Reach says we can do it from up to 2 spaces away. Surges, we can spend either for stun or +1 damage. Attacking with a green and a yellow die, again from melee range. And if we use reach, we don't have to worry about rolling for accuracy. Subtle and versatile in equal measure. Good to know on that front. I think that is everything set up. There's actually surprisingly little setup since we'll be building the map as we go. So let's actually move over to the app and we'll start setting the scene for the campaign. We are doing Flight of the Freedom Fighter in this video. Following the destruction of the Death Star, you must escape the Empire's retaliation on Yavin 4 and protect the transport Freedom Fighter as it passes through treacherous Imperial space. So we'll click Continue there. We'll go with difficulty Normal. So we'll encounter better trained enemies in greater numbers on hard difficulty, but like I said, we're going to go through Normal. Then we select a new save slot. I want Diala and Jin as our squad. Continue. Squad name, we'll call this. This could be a new background campaign, but we'll see. We'll see how I like the... There we go. We'll see how everything lays out and what you guys think of it. So this will be another video where I definitely would like feedback in the comments section down below on how the what's the word I want, the technicals with everything look on this one. So we can go ahead and continue there. From within the secret rebel base on Yavin 4, you listen anxiously as the pilots of Red and Gold squadrons face down the Empire's ultimate weapon, the Death Star. You cheer with joyful relief when Luke Skywalker destroys the Imperial installation with a single shot. You stand at grateful attention as Princess Leia Organa presents Skywalker and Han Solo with awards for their meritorious service. Yet, the ceremony has hardly finished when Rebel Command orders a full evacuation of the Yavin 4 base. You help load the transports, uncertain how long you have until the Empire arrives. And we'll begin. Alright, it might be a little bit hard to see. I'll see if I can zoom in. But you can see here how each character has a plus 10 on their activations. That means they have 10 extra health. So that's everything set up there. Most transports have departed Yavin 4, yet you remain tasked with providing security to the last few ships that are still being loaded. You are patrolling the perimeter of the base, keeping an eye out for any Imperial forces that might slip past the base's sensors and lookouts to land on the surface. Place tiles 3A, 5A, 6A, 7A, 8A, 9A, 17A, 2 copies of 18A, that's what the 2 in parentheses means, 38B, and 1 door. Now, I'm going to shut the camera off, and when we come back, we'll take a look at that all set up. That sure looks like how it's supposed to go to me, so we'll bring the app back in shot. Oh boy. Okay, bad idea. We're actually going to bring the app... Confound it all. Okay, let's try this. That should work. I'll just be adjusting the camera a little bit, but... Alright, so we're all set up, which means we can go ahead and continue. Your squad gathers at the entrance of one of the base's docking facilities, having just completed another circuit around the structure. Deploy the rebels. We'll do everything in the app at once, then we'll come back over to the board so I can show you how everything's deployed. We'll deploy Jin there, and we'll put Diala there. Oh, we get an elite probe droid. Delightful. I think we're going to get a couple of probe... If I remember the practice scenario when we played this, we're going to get a couple of probe droids. So what I'm going to do with that is the probe droid goes here. We'll grab its deployment card. Elite probe droid, where are you? Okay, I'm going to need that, I'm sure. Ah, here we go. There's the elite probe droid. Okay, so let's take a look at the elite probe droid's card. We mostly aren't going to use this. Everything except for the bottom stuff is going to be in the app. So the elite probe droid has 7 health, 4 speed, so it'll move 4 spaces, defends with a black die, and attacks from range. I believe that's a blue and 2 yellow. Yes. Blue and 2 yellow. And for identification purposes, I'm going to give it an orange marker. And then I'm actually going to track the health off camera because I do not like transporting. I don't like moving all of the. Excuse me. I don't like moving all of the health tokens on the actual board. Wait a minute. 30. Okay, hold on. I got to check something. Oh, I needed 38A and the door over here. Duh. All right, so 38A. Where did I put the doors? Here we go. You are sharing your reports from your latest patrols when you hear an unusual humming sound coming from the direction of the forest. You turn slowly, eyes searching the dense overgrowth for the source of the sound. Then you see it, an Imperial probe droid, and we've already deployed it. So I was just finishing up with the last little bit of setup where I needed to put the last tile and the door out. But that's all set up, so we can continue in here. And we deploy... Okay. As you raise your weapon to attack the droid, similar humming noises begin on either side of you, and you spot 2 more probe droids emerging from the cover of the trees. Deploy a regular probe droid, assign it a color. So we'll take a look at the regular probe droid. The only difference is 5 health and speed 3. So those are the only 2 differences from it. So we'll get another probe droid out. We'll give this one a purple marker, and it goes right here. Get that die ready. Purple. And then we have another regular probe droid, because of course we do. Deploy a regular probe droid. This one will assign a blue marker. So we'll put that up here. Alright, so we've assigned it blue. You radio into the command center to report the probe droids. Take them out, quickly. A woman's voice replies, "This is the officer on duty, Lieutenant Talcon. If they signal back to their ship, the Empire will know where to send their troops. You need to defeat the probe droids before they can signal their ship. Objective updated. Defeat the probe droids." Alright, that's the start of round 1, so let's move back over to the board where we can see everything's all set up. I'll zoom out just a touch. So where am I? Oh, here we go. So we've got Jin and Diala down here. Then the elite probe droid is this one up here. Then we've got the 2 regular probe droids over here. So I think with that we're all set. Let's go ahead and get into this playthrough. I think the way I'm going to do the iPad is I'm going to leave it mostly off of shot, and then we'll come back to it as we need to. So, with that in mind, I could activate Jin to take a shot if I wanted to. And I think I will try to go ahead and pick off that probe droid. So here, it might be a little bit hard to see, but I actually do have a bit of range, and the way you determine line of sight in this game is you take one corner, and if you can trace 2 uninterrupted paths, you see how that's going to turn out. As long as you can trace 2 uninterrupted paths from one corner of the square. Actually, this might be a little better if I come down over the top, so let me move to a top-down shoot so I can explain this a little better. So we're going to start with Jin. You might be able to see her space in here. So as long as I can trace 2 uninterrupted lines from one corner of her space to 2 different corners of the target space, you can see I can trace there and there, also without passing through any figures. Jin will be able to take a shot at the elite probe droid, so we'll bring the dice tower in shot. And then looking at her dice, she attacks with 2 green dice, and the probe droid defends with a black. So this is where accuracy becomes important. So on the numbers on the green dice, they need to equal at least 4, or we're not going to be able to hit this probe droid because the shot won't get to it. So let's go ahead and roll this first shot out. All right, so the shot won't even hit anyway, because as you can see on the green dice, Actually, I gotta figure out how it counts. I'm pretty sure it counts from her space to the target space. I think it... Let me just look here. Ranged attack. Requires accuracy equal to or greater than the number of spaces away from the target. So I think I might be wrong, actually. Oh, actually, never mind. I can spend a surge for an accuracy to make sure it does hit, and then the other surge for a damage. But I rolled 2 blocks, so that's what the black dice, that's what this symbol is on the black dice, so no hits there. Then we'll run it back, see if we can get a little better result. Okay, that's a much better result. So we rolled plenty of accuracy with a 2 and a 3 for 5, so we definitely hit. 1 block, which cancels out 1 of the hits, but the elite probe droid still takes 3 damage. So 3 damage on the probe droid. Then we'll move over to the app and see what the Imperials are going to be doing. We'll go ahead and end Jin's activation. So the blue probe droid is activating. It gains Pierce 1. So it will move 2 to attack the closest healthy rebel, then move 2 to reposition 3, or move 4 to reposition 3 if it can't attack. So it definitely can move to attack the closest healthy rebel. So let's move back over to the board here. Actually, we can probably just reposition the camera. So the blue probe droid, this one up here is the one that's getting ready to move. So it's got Pierce 1, which means any blocks we roll, it can pierce through. So the blue probe droid will move 1, 2. Then the closest healthy rebel it can attack, if we draw to this corner, other way. So if we go from, come on. So we draw there. I don't think it can pass through black terrain, so we'll draw from there. Oh, actually, yeah, it probably can. So there to there, and there to there, which means it will attack Jin. So it will need an accuracy of at least 2. Bring the dice tower back in shot. So the probe droids attack with a blue and 2 yellow dice. Jin defends with a white. Now the white die is a little bit different. While it's got the same block and this cancel a surge icon, it's also got that icon on it, which is a full miss. And that's what we want to see, especially when we start seeing a lot of hits on this attack. So let's roll this attack out. Okay, so we got to check how it gains surges. How it spends surges. There's a priority on this. I'm looking at this off shot, or off on the app off camera. So the priority for the probe droid on a surge is it'll try to recover health first, except it's already at full, so there's no health to recover. Then it'll spend a surge for a damage, and then another pierce. Which means the first surge will actually do another +1 damage. Actually, hang on. So we'll cancel out a damage there. We rolled plenty of accuracy. So basically we'll just go ahead and cancel that die. We'll just go ahead and use those 2 dice to cancel each other out. Actually, no, it's got Pierce 1, so the block doesn't even happen. The surge cancel will cancel the regular surge out. So Jin, and then +1 damage. So Jin will actually end up taking... Let's see, so we couldn't cancel the block. The surge got canceled. 1, 2, 3, 4 damage for Jin, which will bring her down to 16. Normally it would be 6, but remember, because we have only 2 heroes, each hero also gets +10 health. So there's the 4 damage going on Jin. Then it wants to move 2 to reposition 3. So it wants to try to get... I believe it's away from everybody for that amount of space. Yeah, I think so. So it wants to get 3 spaces away from everybody, which means its move is going to be here. Actually, it's going to be here. So it's already more than that away from Dial, and it just needs to get away from that for Jin. So that's the probe droid's activation, which means we'll go ahead and finish that. Alright, so now we have to activate Dial next before we can activate Jin again. There's an argument to be made. Let me zoom out just a touch here. There's an argument to be made to send Diala after this probe droid down here to try to take it out, especially if I think it's going to activate next. She's got a speed of 4, so she could get down there. You know what? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So Diala will move. So for her first action, Diala will move, which will actually give her her movement points. You can interrupt movement. The way movement works in this game is a little bit weird. So when you go to activate the move action, you actually get your movement points rather than moving. So I can use that to potentially reposition if I need to. So in this case, I will go... Actually, Jin should have used Opportunist, but I'm not going to worry about that now. So Diala will go 1, 2, and then because she's diagonal and diagonal attacking, I believe is allowed in this game. I'm almost certain it is. I think if diagonal movement is allowed, and I'm pretty sure it is. Can move diagonally along the corner. Okay, so diagonal movement is allowed. So we move 2 spaces to get down here, and then we can attack. At least I didn't figure out if we could or not. I'm pretty sure if you can move diagonally, I'm pretty sure diagonal attacking is allowed. So we can go ahead and roll that out. Diala attacks with a green and a yellow. And the probe droid defends with a black. And then we've got options with Diala's Surge. Do I want to remove the black die for 2 Surge? No, I'm not too bothered with that right now. When I'm trying to take this thing out, I'll probably be a little more bothered about removing the defense die. We do deal 1 damage because we got the 3 block side in there. Ouch. And then that was 2, so Diala will move 3, 4, 5. We'll pull her back there. And then that will end Diala's activation, so we'll move back over to the app. So we can see what the Imperials are getting ready to do. Alright, the purple probe droid is moving. So it's going to move 2 to attack the closest healthy rebel. Then similar to what the other one did, move 2 to reposition 3, move 4 to reposition 3. So moving back over to the board without knocking everything over. So it's this probe droid that's moving, which means I almost forgot to get the 1 damage for the purple probe droid that Diala just attacked. And it'll probably be Diala that it's going after. Move 2 to attack the closest healthy rebel. So 1, 2. It can actually attack either one, but we're going to go for Diala. So the probe droid attacks with a blue and 2 yellow. Diala defends with a white. And then I can use Foresight. Oh, why did I put that damage on Diala? Alright. All that done. Go ahead and roll this attack for Diala. And we have it fall behind the... We have it fall off the table. Okay, I heard it land, but I didn't see Okay, I need to pause for a minute so I can find the other yellow die. I heard it land, but I didn't see where it ended up. It got hidden behind my camera stuff. Delightful. Anyway, Dial is getting rocked, so she's probably going to use a strain to re-roll her defense die. And just surge here. Alright, so yeah, she's going to spend a... She's going to take a strain to re-roll that defense die. We need more than one block. Cancel a surge, that works. Mostly so I can stop, well, I can't stop the recover 1 health. But, yeah. So we'll cancel that, so that die will get canceled out. The probe droid will still recover a health. But Dial is still going to take, 3. So we're getting hammered already. So 3 damage going on Diala. And then move 2 to reposition 3. So it'll move 1, 2. Actually, it'll move... It was here, 1, 2. Okay, so that's all done. Which means now we're back to... So now we can finish that activation. And then we're back to our activations. We've got the... Elite Probe Droid going next. So... So I'll actually have Jin go next. Excuse me. Jin's going to have to step out from behind Diala, gaining her movement points first. So she'll step 1, 2. Then she's going to attack the Elite Probe Droid. I want to see if I can do some decent damage to it. Plus, I'm planning on having Jin interrupt the probe droid. So we'll get the 2 green and a black for Jin's attack. Alright, there's plenty of accuracy. We rolled 4. We'll use the surge for another damage. The block will cancel the damage out, and then the Elite Probe Droid will take 3 damage. Remember, we need 7 to take out the Elite Probe Droid. We actually have 6 on it, so we might be able to just wipe... We might just be able to wipe that Probe Droid out when it goes to attack us. So let's see what we can do there, because that was... Actually, Jin will move... I actually want her right where she is, so she's fine. So, we can move over to the... And I'll let the rest of her movement points float away. Actually, the one thing I will do is I'll move her a little closer. Mostly because I'm expecting the probe droid to go... The Elite Probe Droid to go next. But, let's go ahead and end Jin's activation, and we'll see what happens with that plan. Alright, called that. So the probe droid does go next. It'll gain piercing 1, and on a targeting computer, it gains +1 damage and +2 accuracy. But here's where I'm going to interrupt. Here's where I'm going to use Jin's quick draw. So we're starting the probe droid's activation. I'll actually give her the 2 strain, not 1. So quick draw says at the start of a hostile figure's activation, which this is, she can interrupt to perform an action with a pistol targeting that figure. Limit once per round, twice if you have 2 activation tokens. So we've only used this once, which means we'll move back over to the board briefly, and we'll see if Jin can take out the Elite Probe Droid. So we need 1 more damage on it, and we only need 1 accuracy, but we need to not get a lot of... We need to not get a lot of blocks here. So we only get 1 block. That I can live with. So what that means is... So those are all done. The Elite Probe Droid will be taking 3 damage. Its activation's effectively over without being able to do anything. So we'll take that off the board. Then we'll discard the Elite Probe Droid, because it's been defeated. And we'll stack it back here. So we'll finish the activation. Then we'll come back over to the app. Defeat the elite probe droid. So we can move back. Now we can move back over to the board. And Diala has one more activation. So let's tip that back here. So what do we want Diala to do? Actually, we'll have Diala start with a move action. So she'll move 1. Then she'll attack the blue probe droid, once again with a green and a yellow. It will defend with a black. Okay, we get 2 surges and 2 blocks. So one surge will turn into a damage, which will cancel one of the blocks out, but the other surge will turn into a stun. So let's take a look at stun. So if it's stunned, you cannot voluntarily attack or exit your space. You can't attack or voluntarily exit your space. As an action, discard this card condition. Set for stun. Stormtrooper, A New Hope. So the blue probe droid will just end up discarding the condition probably on its activation. So with that, I think we're all done here, which means we can end the activation for Diala. We'll move over to the app since there's a little bit more to see here. The surviving probe droids... Actually, let me see if I can zoom in on that. Just a touch. There we go. The surviving probe droids extend their antennae and broadcast their location to their ship. You can be sure that more Imperial forces are on the way. Of course they are. Moments later, more Imperial troops come crashing through the underbrush, weapons hot. Joy. Let's see, what do we get here? Oh, joy. Regular Royal Guards. So, fortunately they were right on top. This isn't good. So we'll take a quick look at Royal Guards. 8 health, 5 speed, defend with a black, attack at melee with a red and a yellow. That's a problem, so we'll give them the orange defender. They go here, right next to Jin. Oh boy. And down here, we get elite death troopers. You gotta be kidding me. Although we did just take out an elite probe droid. So anyway, I'm going to shut off the camera so I can find the elite death trooper in my mess of minis. I'll be right back. It took me a little bit, but I found the elite death trooper. 7 health, 4 speed, defends with a black die, and attacks from range with a red and a yellow. That's the mini we'll use to represent him. He goes down here, and we'll give him the... Get that out of the way, and we'll give him a blue 2 identifier. Let's see what else we've got going on here. Oh, delightful. More death troopers. This is going to be fun. I should have another one in here. Perfect. So we'll deploy them up here. Find the card for them. We'll make him, give him black identification. So 1, black, 5 health, 4 speed, defends with a black die, attacks from range with a red and a yellow. Imperial forces inbound. Gee, you think? Lieutenant Talcon calls out. Hold them off as long as you can while we finish loading the last of the transports. If you start taking too many casualties, fall back into the base. May the Force be with you. Objective updated. Hold off the Imperial forces until the last transports can escape. Oh, this is going to be fun. The door to the base opens just long enough for 3 rebel troopers to rush out onto the battlefield, and the door quickly closes behind them. Deploy the regular rebel trooper group then each rebel trooper gains 6 movement points. Let's see, that should be all 3 of these bozos. So I'm going to use these tokens to represent the rebel troopers. Deploy them there, there, and there. I'll fish out their card. I'll give them identifiers as well in a minute. Where? Ah, here we go. Rebel Trooper. Each Rebel Trooper has 3 health, 4 speed, defends on a white die, and attacks from range with a blue and a yellow. And then I'll give, let's see, we'll do 2, 3, 4 in orange. 2, 3, and 4. Cool your jets. We'll go 2, 3, 4. I'll get this out of the way, the dice tower, because we are going to be moving back over to the board in a second, so I can see so we can figure out what we want to do with these rebel troopers. Well, we're off to a wonderful start. So the question is, how do I want to deploy these guys? We just got reinforcements, but we've also got we got reinforcements on both sides. That Royal Guard is going to be a pain in the neck to take out. Probably an even bigger pain than the Elite Death Trooper to take out. So do we just concentrate on him first? That might be our best plan of attack right now. So I think we'll bring number 2 in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we'll bring 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Does that work for him? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it does. Okay. Then number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, 4, 5. I don't want to cut Jin off from escape. That's the only thing I'm kind of hesitating about on bringing. Actually, no, I wouldn't cut her off from escape. I could just diagonal move her here and get her out that way. So I think that will work. The only problem now is I can't trace line of sight through Jin, so I'm going to have to probably get her out of the way if I'm going to have these guys take on the Royal Guard. So let's move back over to the app, and then we'll see how we're going to continue, because I assume there's going to be more before the round starts. No, there's not. Round 2. Okay. So I stand corrected on that. With that, let's move back over to the board and figure out how we're going to get out of this mess. Getting out of this mess is probably going to start with making this Royal Guard champion go nighty-night. So I think we'll have Jin go ahead and get started on that project. We'll bring the dice tower in shot. She is at point blank range, so she'll still need at least 1 accuracy. We're right, 2 green, and then the Royal Guard defends with a black. So it's actually a Royal Guard, not a Royal Guard champion. I'm being technical. So we cancel out a surge. We rolled plenty of accuracy. The Royal Guard does take 3 damage. Let me go find 3 damage. And then I can move Jin 1 space away from it. So I'll move Jin 1 space here. And then we'll run the attack back. I'm probably going to have to suffer a strain to try to get rid of the Royal Guard with a quick draw. Alright, so we'll roll that. Rolled plenty of damage, so we rolled enough accuracy. We cancel a surge, but the Royal Guard still takes 3 damage. So yes, we are... So the next time he activates, Jin probably is going to quick draw on him. Let's move over to the app and see what happens there. So we'll tip that up. Jin's activation will end. And the Elite Death Trooper is going to activate. So he's the blue one. He gains +1 surge right off the bat. Moving 3 to attack Jin, except... Yes, he can get to attack Jin. Move 2 to reposition 3. Move 6 to reposition 3. Then Squad Captain. The highest figure cost Imperial figure without focus becomes focused and gains 1 banked block. So that's what these tokens are. I was wondering what these were. So next time whatever figure has to roll for defense gets a banked block. So I can spend that to gain the block. Highest figure cost Imperial. So the cost is in the upper left corner, which means it's the Royal Guard. That's actually a problem. So he becomes focused as well. When you declare an attack or attribute test, add 1 green die to the dice pool. After you resolve an attack or attribute test, you must discard this card. Trust your feelings. Obi-Wan Kenobi, A New Hope. Delightful. So we can move back. So we'll move back over to the board. And we'll see that this Death Trooper is the elite one, and he can in fact get to where he can attack Jin. So 1, 2, 3 next to the probe droid. So he'll be attacking Jin, which means he needs an accuracy of at least 3 to hit. Attacks with a red and a yellow from range. Jin defends with a white. Alright, Jin gets a block, and the surge gets cancelled. How the Death Troopers have spent. First surge would have given +2 damage, then +2 accuracy, pierce 1. Actually, never mind all of that, because he didn't roll enough accuracy. Jin's 3 spaces away, he only rolled 2 accuracy, so the attack actually doesn't do anything, which is very fortunate for Jin. Alright, so then we move 2 to reposition 3. He'll actually move back behind the probe droid, and that's where he'll end up. So his activation's done. And then we have Diala next, or we can activate the Rebel Troopers next. Which... I think we'll do that, actually. I think we'll activate the Rebel Troopers next. So we'll move... Actually, he doesn't have to move, I don't think. Yeah, the Rebel Troopers attack from range, so we'll go after the Royal Guard just to shoot through the... Try to shoot down the banked block. So 2 will be able to draw a line of sight without going through figures. So 1, 2, which means he can shoot. So we need a red and a yellow for... No. Red and yellow would be way too broken. Blue and a yellow, actually. So blue and a yellow. The Royal Guard defends with a black. We'll tip the camera up just slightly. Ah, not again. Alright, I'm just going to roll the other yellow die. Not that it well, does it matter? I don't, well... Oh, I just found the other yellow die. It's under my foot. Okay, so... They spend surges with Pierce 1 and +1 accuracy. We rolled plenty of accuracy, but even if we use the surge for a pierce, we still don't do any damage. Plus he had a defended block anyway, so we won't spend that. And then we'll run the attack back for 2. Okay, so that would spend to pierce through the block. He didn't... Actually, he did roll... He rolled enough accuracy. Pierce 1 cancels one of the blocks out. The other surge is +1 accuracy, which he didn't need. But still no damage on the Royal Guard, so that one's done. Number 3 is going to have to move so that 4 can shoot... So 4 can move around and get line of sight on Jin. So he'll move 1, 2, 3, which I believe is their speed. They have a speed of up to 4. So he's still got 1 movement point left. Then he'll shoot from point blank at the Royal Guard. Alright, so 2 surges. The first surge, we rolled enough accuracy. The first surge pierces the block. Then we didn't need more accuracy. He'll spend the block and take no damage. Alright, so 3 is done. 4 will then move 1, 2. Move him there. Actually, 3 had 1 more movement point, so he'll move him... Actually, we'll leave him there. But as we see here, 1, 2, he can also take a shot. And the Royal Guard now doesn't have a banked block. Alright, so we pierced through one of the blocks. Okay, so we did roll plenty of accuracy. The surge pierces through one of the blocks, and the Royal Guard still takes 1 damage. So he needs one more health to be defeated. So we'll move over to the app here. And the Rebel Trooper's activation. The purple probe droid is going to activate, so it gains Pierce 1, moves 3 to attack the closest healthy rebel. If this figure has suffered 3 or more damage, and it hasn't yet, move 2 to engage as many rebels as possible. Each adjacent rebel rolls 1 red die and suffers damage equal to the damage result. If any rebels suffered damage, defeat this figure immediately. Then move 2 to reposition 3, and move 4 to reposition 3. So as we move back over to the board, we see the purple probe droid is down here. It's already got a rebel trooper close to it, so it'll attack him. It will attack with a blue and 2 yellow. The rebel troopers defend with a white. So blue, 2 yellow, defend with a white. I'm going to move that dice tower, so hopefully we don't get... Actually, I'm going to turn it just a little bit, so that hopefully we don't get so many instances of the of dice falling. Alright, so as we... Oop, I did not want the black die in there. There's the other yellow. Okay, so they spend surges on 1 damage, pierce 1, and then recover 1 damage. So our roll cancels a damage and a surge out. So number 2 rebel trooper takes... Actually, number 4 rebel trooper takes 1 damage. And it has not suffered any damage yet, so it just wants to move 2 to reposition 3. So it will move 1, 2, like so. I think we can tip the camera down just a bit to get the probe droid in shot, and we'll finish that. And then we have Diala next. Do we move Diala over to the Royal Guard and try to take it out? I think we do, actually. So Diala will gain her movement points, so she'll move 1, 2. Then she'll attack, and I think this is worth using Precise Strike. So she'll suffer 2 strain to remove the black die from the Royal Guard's defense pool. So she needs a green and a yellow, and we don't roll the defense die. We need that Royal Guard to defeat him too badly. which we managed to do with 2 damage. So the Royal Guard has been defeated. Which means we can move all of that off the board. That die's all clear. And then the focus is obviously no longer a problem, so I'll move over to the app, defeat the Royal Guard. Now we should be able to clean up the rest of these enemies with relatively little problem, depending on the die rolls. So we moved, attacked, and we still have 3 movement points left. So we'll move 1, 2, 3. Try to plan on doing some cleanup here. With that, we'll move back over to the app, and we'll see what the Imperials are doing. So we'll end Diala's activation. The Death Trooper is activating. So move forward to attack Jin. Can he get to attack Jin? 1, 2, 3, 4. He can't get line of sight on Jin to attack, so he'll just move 2 to reposition 3, and then move 6 to reposition 3. In tactical comms, the highest figure cost Imperial figure without focused becomes focused. So that will be the Elite Death Trooper who becomes focused. So he will move 2 to reposition 3, then 6 to reposition 3. So he'll just start moving onto the board. 1, 2 to reposition 3, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he'll start to join the fray. Then I will finish his activation. And then we've got both of our heroes to activate. So we haven't activated the blue probe droid yet. If we can take that blue probe droid out, and I'm very tempted to try, we can basically get a free shot at somebody. So Diala will activate next. She actually has reach, so she won't need the... So she can actually take 2 attacks here. And it's stunned, which is very good for us. So the first action will probably be just to discard its stunned. So we need a green and a yellow. It defends with a black. Good thing we got the dice tower and shot. So yeah, reach. Like I said, that's what reach lets us do. It lets us attack from up to 2 spaces away. I'm just going to double check that. Yes, up to 2 spaces away. And must have line of sight, which, just to establish all of that, from this corner, Diala does have line of sight. So she will reach and attack the probe droid. We don't need to roll accuracy for this, thankfully. Wow. 3 damage, which will all get canceled out. It's already stunned, so it can't get double stunned. Then Diala will run that back. Can we get a little better result, please, Diala? Cancel a surge and take 2. That I can live with. So the blue probe droid takes 2 damage. We don't get the free shot like I wanted, but we can move back over to the app and Diala's activation. Then the blue probe droid moves. So after this figure attacks, the defender suffers 1 strain. It's basically got all the same self-destruct instructions that the last one did. First action will be to discard the stunned condition. And then it will move 3 to attack the closest healthy rebel, which once we move back over to the board, we'll see that it already can do that with Diala. So the probe droid will attack with... Right. Blue and 2 yellow. Diala will defend with a white. Oop. I want the yellow die. There we go. And we get Bubkus on the defense roll. Priority is recover a health, which it can do. Then it does another damage and pierces, but there was no block to pierce anyway, so that surge goes to waste. So Diala is going to end up taking 3 more damage, so she's up to 6. Actually, no, I couldn't have quick drawn there because Jin wouldn't have been able to get line of sight from her space. So that activation's done. Then speaking of Jin, we have her activation last. I think I'm just going to send her after the Death Trooper up here. I was going to try to get cute and potentially go after that probe droid, but might as well start working on that Death Trooper. So from this corner, 1, 2, Jin can shoot at the Death Trooper. She attacks with 2 green. The Death Trooper defends with a black. Alright, so the Surge will turn into another damage, which the block will cancel out, and then the Death Trooper will take... Regular Death Trooper will take 2 damage. There's the 2 damage going on to the Death Trooper. Then we'll run the attack back. Exact same situation as before. Except this time it's lethal for the Death Trooper. The Surge will turn... Actually, did we roll enough accuracy? We did roll enough accuracy. We got 2 in there. So, Jin takes the... So the Surge turns into another damage which gets canceled out, but the 3 damage is enough to take out the regular Death Trooper, so that's fortunate. Alright, I'll have to go to the app and make sure I defeat the Black Death Trooper. Perfect. And then speaking of the app, let's move back over there and see what happens when we end Jin's activation. So we'll end that. More Imperial forces come bursting out of the jungle. How delightful. We just got rid of that Death Trooper. Okay, what did I do with him? Oh, I don't think I ever took him off the board. Well, that's actually convenient, so he's just moving down here. And we'll leave him as black again, because that's the easiest thing to do.
Alert all commands.
And now we've got an elite Imperial officer. Joy, joy. Which is right here. So where is the elite Imperial? Ah. So we'll take our first look at the elite Imperial officer. 5 health, 4 speed, defends with a white die, and attacks with a blue and a yellow. We'll put him there. We'll give him another purple identifier. 2. And who's coming next? Okay. Only 4 transports have yet to depart, Lieutenant Talcom says over the comlink. Keep standing strong. And that's that'll get us into round 3. So let's move back over to the board and see if we can clean up this mess. Officer sounds commandy, so I'd like to try to take out the Imperial officer if I can. We'll use Jin to try, so just to establish, I can take a shot at the Imperial officer. I do have line of sight. So I need the 2 green, and he defends with a white. Alright, Surge gets canceled out. Okay, so Surge and 1 of the damage gets canceled out, which means the Imperial officer takes 1 damage. And then we'll run the attack back. That's a much better result. So the Imperial officer, we roll enough accuracy. The Imperial officer takes another 3 damage. This will probably be worth another quick draw, just because I'm going to be able to take out the I want to be able to take the Imperial officer out if I can. So with that, let's move back over to the app and see what we're doing so we can end Jin's activation. The Elite Death Trooper is activating. Gains +1 Surge. Move 4 to attack Jin. Move 2 to reposition 3. Then move 6 to reposition 3. Then Squad Captain, the highest figure cost Imperial figure without focused, becomes focused and gains a banked block. Which right now that's the Imperial Officer. So he'll become focused and gain a banked block. We've seen focused before. The banked block is good for him because he's on the verge of death right now. Where's the Elite Death Trooper, the blue one, who can move forward to attack Jin? So let's actually move over to the board and see what he's going to do. So we'll tip the camera down. This trooper will move 1, 2, 3, stepping around to attack Jin. He attacks with red and yellow. Jin defends with a white. Alright, so we block. Okay, so how does he spend surges? +2 damage. He rolled enough accuracy on the attack. So he gains +2 damage, so that's 5. Block cancels 1, which means Jin takes 4, going up to 8. Can't do first grade math today, apparently. Move 2 to reposition 3, so he'll just move 1, 2, and reposition like that. Alright, then we'll finish that activation. Do we want to activate Diala or the Rebel Troopers next? I still want to take out that Imperial officer, but that Death Trooper is going to be a problem. It's going to be a... Oh wait, he actually should have had an extra green die as well. So Jin takes another 2 damage, going up to 10. She's not wounded yet because she's got +10 health. So we get that, and then the focus goes away for the Elite Death Trooper. Yeah, I think we might as well try to take out that Imperial officer out now. So I'll have the Rebel Troopers activate next. So we'll get we establish the attack with blue and yellow, that's right. So blue and yellow, and the Imperial officer defends with a white. So we'll go ahead and activate number 3 first. Okay, so that cancels out the block and then the banked block that he had. We rolled plenty of accuracy. And that Imperial officer has actually been defeated because he only had 1 health left. So we can get rid of all of this. And we did indeed defeat the Imperial officer, which was what I really wanted this turn. I'll keep him close though. I have a feeling he's coming back out. So we'll defeat the Imperial officer. And then number 3's got an extra activation, so I'll just have him go after the probe droid up here. So blue and a yellow, and the probe droid defends with a black. We need at least, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 accuracy. And just to establish line of sight without dropping the laser pointer. So just to establish line of sight. 1, 2. Plenty of accuracy. And we can use the surge to pierce through one of those blocks, and the probe droid will take 1. So the blue probe droid's up to 2, which means number 3 is done. 2 will also attack the probe droid. And it's got an even easier road to line of sight. It would help if I tip the 1, 2, 3, 4 accuracy. And just to establish line of sight, 1, 2, 3, 4 accuracy. And just to establish line of sight, 1, 2, 3, 4 accuracy. And just to establish line of sight, 1, 2, 3, 4 accuracy. And just to establish line of sight, 1, 2, 3, 4 accuracy. And just to establish line of sight, 1, 2, 3, 4 accuracy. And just to establish line of sight, 1, 2, 3, 4 accuracy. And just to establish line of sight, 1, 2, 3, 4 accuracy. And just to establish line of sight, 1, 2, 3, 4 accuracy. And just to establish line of sight, 1, 2, 3, 4 accuracy. And just to establish line of sight, 1, 2, 3, 4 accuracy. And just to establish line of sight, 1, 2, 3, 4 accuracy. And just to establish line of sight, 1, 2, 3, 4 accuracy. And just to establish line 2. That's 2 surges, which even with we did roll enough accuracy, but we didn't do any damage, so we'll run that back. Wow. We can't get through that. That thing's got impenetrable defenses, apparently. So number 2's done. Number 4 is actually going to turn and work on the elite death trooper. I'm going to try to put some damage on him. 1, 2. We're not passing through any figures or any impossible terrain, like anything that's highlighted in a red square. We might have seen it earlier, and I probably should have explained it more. We have this difficult terrain, which just costs 2 spaces to move through. So attacking the elite death trooper. Alright, so we do roll enough accuracy. Surge pierces through one of the blocks. We can give more accuracy, but we don't need it. So we pierce one of the blocks, and then the elite death trooper takes 2 damage. So there's that going on the elite death trooper. And we'll run that back. And we get an attack that gets totally canceled out. We did roll enough accuracy, but he blocked the 2 damage on there. So the rebel troopers are done. Move over to the app. And their activation. Then the purple probe droid is going to activate, moving 3 to attack Diala. After this figure attacks, the defender suffers a strain. I'm trying to remember who the blue probe droid attacked. I don't remember. Oh well. Alright, so after this figure attacks, the defender suffers 1 strain. It moves 3 to try to attack Diala, but I don't think it can get line of sight to attack. 1, 2, 3. No, it can't get... It can't get line of sight to attack Diala because of where it got it. So 1, 2... Yeah, no, it can't get line of sight to attack. It has not suffered 3 or more damage. It actually hasn't suffered any. So it just moves 2 to reposition 3, and then 4 to reposition 3. So we'll move back over to the board. So even if I move the probe droid up 1, 2, 3, I'm passing through a couple of... You might be able to see it here. Let me tip the camera down so you can see. But as you can see, trying to get to Diala, I pass through a couple of figures, so the probe droid can't get line of sight to attack Diala. So it just moves 2 to reposition 3, 1, 2, and then 4 to reposition 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think is how we'll do that. So that's all done, and we have Diala left to go. I think I'll send Diala back after the blue probe droid again. Actually, resting might not be a bad idea for her. So yeah, I think Diala will actually rest. There's an option you've probably been seeing on the app for med packs. So Diala is going to rest, healing her strain. And I'm going to use a med pack to recover 5 health to bring her back up to 1 from... I think she recovers... I think strain she can't recover. She recovers in health. Let me double check that. Recovers more strain than suffered. Recover 1 health for each strain that can't be recovered. So yeah, Diala goes back to full strength there. And then for second attack, she'll go ahead and attack the probe droid that's right here. So we need a green and a yellow. Green and a yellow. The probe droid defends with a black. And actually, I'm going to suffer 2 strain to remove the black die because I want to try to take this. I want to try to take this probe droid out. And I don't need to worry about accuracy here. That'll be enough accuracy to take out that probe droid. So this probe droid is defeated. That goes back there. Then I'll mark it in the app that the blue probe droid has been defeated, which is basically going to force the activation on the elite Death Trooper, which that's the regular Death Trooper that's going to be activating, but I'm fine with that as well. So we'll end Diala's activation. Then it moves 4 to attack Rebel Troopers. Moves 2 to reposition 3, then 6 to reposition 3. The highest cost Imperial figure without focused becomes focused, which right now is the Imperial officer is off table. So that one's gone. That would be the elite Death Trooper who becomes focused. Which means I gotta give him an extra green die when we move back over to the board. So when we move back over, we see that he can get to the Rebel Troopers. 1, 2, 3. He only needs 3 movement to get there. So he attacked the red, a yellow, and a green. The trooper defends with a white. He's got to roll at least 1 accuracy, but I'm pretty sure he'll be able to roll that in this attack. Wow. Okay, so we cancel a surge. Okay, so actually we had a sonic imploder, which I'll come back to in a minute. We spend surges for +2 accuracy, +1 pierce, but I'm pretty sure, along with +1 damage. So we cancel a surge, and then the pierce. Then the other surge cancels out the pierce, which means Rebel Trooper 4 has been defeated. So that's 1 less that we'll have to activate. That should go in the health marker. That goes there. Then he moves 6 to reposition 3, but I think he's already where he wants to be. So actually, we'll just move him 1, 2. We'll just move him like that. And then after this figure's activation, each rebel within 3 spaces may test might. But there are no rebels within 3 spaces, so we're clear there. Each rebel that does not pass becomes weakened. So we're not worried about that, which means we're done here. And then we come back. So we don't have any units left to activate for the Imperials, which basically means we get a free shot. So I think we're probably going to try to make these Death Troopers come to us, which means I want to focus on taking out this probe droid. So I'll have Jin get the party started on that. She'll roll 2 green. Actually, resting with her might not be a terrible idea. So yeah, I think we will have her rest first, which will recover her strain, and then 3 health from Jin. So that's action 1. Action 2, she'll attack the regular probe droid. So we get 2 green, defend with a black. Cancel a surge, and the probe droid takes 3. So we're not even going to worry about what the surge would have... did we roll enough? Oh yeah, we rolled plenty of accuracy. Alright, so there's 3 damage going on the purple probe droid. So we'll end Jin's activation. And then Diala will move. We'll get her movement points for 1, 2. Then she'll melee the probe droid. I'm not too concerned about defending here. Although watch... Never mind. I'm not going to say it because as soon as I say it, it's going to happen. Let me... Of course. Well, the damage all gets blocked. The question is, do I want the surge to deal a damage or stun it? I think I'm going to take the damage on the probe droid, so it's only got 1 health left. Anyway, we can move back over to the app to end Diala's activation. We should get more bad things happening to us. So let's see what all happens here. An ominous figure emerges from the dense jungle foliage. Oop, not there. Deploy BT-1. Oh joy. This one's probably going to take me a little while to find, so I'm actually going to shut the camera off so I can find it. So I'll be right back. Well, that was easy. All I had to remember was find the unpainted astromech. BT-1, Destructive Assassin. Cost of 6, which is proving to be relevant here. Stop dropping that. 10 health, 4 speed, defends with a black die, and attacks from range with a blue, red, and yellow. Yikes. Alright, so he goes there, and let's see what else we've got. More Imperial forces come bursting out of the jungle. Color me unsurprised.
Alert all commands.
And this time it's a regular Imperial officer, which shouldn't be as bad as the elite one, I would hope. Here we go. So he goes up here. The only change here is 3 health, and we'll assign it a... Okay, we'll give the... First we gotta give BT-1 an orange identifier. Then we'll make this one black. This is the Imperial officer.
Alert all commands.
Another one? Okay, so we've got another regular Imperial officer. There should be another one in here. So I'll just show you the paint job on the Imperial officers. Not too bad. Better than I could have done, that's for sure. Okay, we'll give it 2. Oh, fun! So actually he deploys here. Give him purple identifier. Actually, we got a black and a purple one. Alright, so purple there. Only 3 transports have yet to depart, Lieutenant Talcon says over the comm link. Keep standing strong. If you're running low on supplies, fall back to the base, Lieutenant Talcon adds. I'll open the door for you. Open the door. So that's gone. Place tile 23B and a door. So let me go find 23B. Here we go. 11 to... No. I want the... Don't tell me I put the rest of them... Oh no, they're down here. 23B. Alright, so that place, so I'll bring the dice tower out of shot here. Actually, the dice tower isn't in shot because we've got the iPad. Okay, so that goes there, and the door, I don't know why I took it off the stand. Goes there. Some crates appear to have been left behind in the rush to evacuate. They may contain something useful. Place 2 crates. Let me go find the 2 crates. This copy of the game I got actually came with some, looks like some model stuff. There are the 2 crates that we'll use. We'll place them 1, 2. Continue that. More rebel troopers come rushing out of the base to provide you with reinforcements. Reinforce regular rebel troopers until there are 3 in the group. That's welcome. Okay, so we just need 1 more rebel trooper. So we'll give him an orange identifier. Okay. We've got that. Fight them off as long as you can, Lieutenant Talcon says. With the door to the base open, you are presented with an opportunity to fall back to relative safety. Each rebel may interrupt to perform a move action. So I think... Okay, I really don't want to fight this forward as far as I have been. So let's move back over to the board. So I think each rebel will perform a move action. So I definitely want to fall back. So we'll let everybody perform a move action. Jin will move 1, 2, 3, 4. Unfortunately, I think we are going to have to do a little bit of fighting forward still a little bit. Actually, Jin's probably fine. The troopers should be fine as well. They move at a speed of 4 as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4. But yeah, we are going to start falling back a little bit. Diala is going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this trooper is going to move 1, 2, 3, 4. So we are going to start trying to fall back a little bit and ideally try to funnel the action into the middle here, and then draw them into where we can hopefully try to pincer them from here, but we'll have to see how that plays out. So this should be into round 4 now. So let's see what we can do with this. I think we are going to try to set up something of a pincer move right here. But to do that, I need to activate the rebel troopers first so I can get this rebel trooper back here out of the way. So he's going to take a shot at the purple Imperial officer first. We'll bring the dice tower right up to there. I'm trying not to move Diala too much. Attacks with a blue and a yellow. The Imperial officer defends with a white. Ideally, a big attack takes out that Imperial officer right now, but let's see what kind of roll we get. Alright, so we cancel a surge. We cancel the surge, and we block one of the attacks, and the Imperial officer still takes 2. So the purple one takes 2, and then number 3 is going to fall back 1. Okay, just to make sure we did roll plenty of accuracy. So then he's going to fall back 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to try to start setting up the pincer right around here. Then number 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to be a long shot, but we'll try it anyway. He's going to have to fall back a little bit as well. Let's try to set up a pincer. He just barely doesn't roll enough accuracy. He would have taken out the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he just barely didn't roll enough accuracy. We've got the 2s in there, so the attack misses. It was a pot shot anyway. I figured it was long odds anyway. So he'll move 1, 2, 3, 4 to try to set up the aforementioned pincer. And we'll zoom out so we can get Imperial Trooper 4. We'll move 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Actually 3. So I can keep Diala moving. So I can actually get her into the fray. With that, we can move over to the app. And the Rebel Trooper activation. Let me zoom in just a touch. Maybe make this... That app is not proving easy to read at all. Alright, so we activate BT1, gaining +1 health, moving 4 to attack the closest healthy rebel, which right now is Jin. Move 2 to reposition 4, then move 6 to reposition 4. So actually let's move over to the board. So he's got +1 damage coming off of this. So we'll tip back over to the board. BT1's getting ready to move. It'll move 1, 2, 3, 4. Getting close up to Jin. We'll bring the dice tower into shot. We'll put it there, I think. I'll have to reposition everything. The problem is this tower... Actually, I'm going to go grab my smaller tower because this tower, while it's reliable, is too imposing. And I think the smaller tower... I think the dice should be... I think the dice are small enough that I won't have problems with the smaller tower, because I was definitely having problems with the smaller tower when I was playing Final Girl on Wednesday. Let's see, what does BT1 attack with? Oh, he attacks with a red as well. Yikes. this red die is going to be a very dangerous die. So he's attacking Jin. Plenty of accuracy. Jin cancels a surge, but she still takes 4 damage. So we'll trade one of these in for a 5, which will bring Jin up to 12 damage on her. Then move 2 to reposition 4. So 1, 2. And then move 6 to reposition 4. He's actually he's done where he's at, because he did the attack for an action, so he does 2 actions, so he's done. Surge would have done Pierce 2, Blast 1, so which would have been probably blasting everything in the area, and then Recover 1. So anyway, BT1's done there. And now we've got to activate our heroes. I think I'll let Jin go ahead and take a shot, try to finish off this Imperial officer. So 2 greens, and the Imperial officer defends with a white. Cancel the surge, but the Imperial officer has been defeated, which is fortunate for us. So the purple Imperial officer has been defeated, which gives us another couple of fame, which will be relevant later. And then do I want to have Jin move? Where do I want to have Jin move? If I'm still trying to set up a pincer back here, I think Jin... Actually, she moves 1 space for free, so I'll pull her back here. And then now would probably be a good time for her to rest. She doesn't have any strain to recover, so she recovers 5 health, which is very welcome there. So that will end Jin's activation, which will bring us back over to the app. Jin, the Elite Death Trooper, is going to activate. Sonic Imploder. After this figure's activation, each rebel within 3 spaces may test Might. Each rebel that does not pass becomes weakened. Move 4 to attack the closest healthy rebel. Move 2 to reposition 3. Move 6 to reposition 3. Then Squad Captain. The highest figure cost Imperial figure without focused becomes focused and gains a banked block. So that'll be BT6, who's becoming focused and gaining a banked... Move that down, gaining a banked block. So I'll find that, put that by BT8. Alright, the Elite Death Trooper is in blue. Can he get close to attack a healthy rebel? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. He can, but it would be a fairly long shot. He'll probably still make it anyway. So let's move over to the board. Let me just move that up a touch. So the bottom leg, the back leg isn't hanging off. So the Elite Death Trooper is this one in blue. He can move to attack the Rebel Trooper. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's still a fairly long shot, but from there, he will have line of sight. So 1, 2, 3, 4. He will have line of sight to the Rebel Trooper, but that's still a fairly long shot. He'll need, what'll he need? 1, 2, 3, 4 accuracy. Let's see, red and a yellow. And the Rebel Trooper defends with a white. Let me bring the tip up to get the dice tower. Wow. So one of the surges, so how does he spend surges? +2 damage. Well, that's one way to get through any kind of defense. He'll just actually, he didn't even roll any accuracy, so never mind. The shot falls very much flat, falls very much short. I was worried about it being a devastating roll, but he didn't even roll any accuracy, so the shot misses. Move 2 to reposition 3, so we'll get a little bit closer, it looks like. 1, 2 there. Actually, I think he wants to be here, because that's 3 spaces away. Alright, so that's all done. Means we can finish, and now I've got a problem, because now they're starting to come, as we zoom out, I've got a problem now because now they're starting to loop around my pincer move here, so my pincer plan is basically completely worthless at this point, which is very unfortunate. So I think we just got to bring everybody down to this side. I was hoping to funnel everything down the middle, but that's clearly not going to work. So I've got to move Diala 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then she's actually at full strength right now, so I think she's fine. We'll just move her down so I can plan on attacking the 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll plan on attacking this elite death trooper on her next activation. So let's move back over to the app and see what the Imperials are getting up to. Alright, the purple probe droid's activating. After this figure attacks, defender suffers 1 strain. Can't get close enough to attack anybody because it moves 3 to attack the closest healthy rebel, but it's well out of the action right now. Self-destruct, it has suffered 3 damage, so it moves 2 to engage as many rebels as possible, but it can't engage anybody. So it just moves 2 to reposition 3, and then 4 to reposition 3. So the probe droid, I'm pretty sure, is the only unit that's actually going to get caught in this pincer. So I'll move it. Then it looks like I need to change my battery. So it'll move 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can finish the activation, and then I need to change my battery. So the probe droid up here actually is going to land in something of our pincer plan, but I don't think the pincer there is really worthwhile. I think I'd rather land on... Wait a minute, did the elite death trooper just activate? I think it did. Wish I could see. Okay, the black... Yeah, I think the elite death trooper... Actually, it did just activate, so we should have added a green die to the roll. Not that I think it would have mattered. Yeah, it didn't roll... It still wouldn't have had enough accuracy to hit anyway what he was attacking. So... Alright, so Diala will actually go ahead and attack the elite death trooper up here. She'll spend 2 strain, using her plasteel staff. She'll spend 2 strain to remove the black die from its defense pool. So she attacks with a green and a yellow. It doesn't get defense for this attack. Three damage on the elite death trooper, so that brings it up to 4. Actually, 3 brings it up to 5. This is probably the one okay, so focused is discarded. So 5, and then we'll run the attack back. This time he gets his defense die. I probably should have done it in the other order, but too late to worry about that now. Alright, so that's 3 damage and a block. So we'll use the surge for damage, which will cancel out the block, and then the elite death trooper has been defeated. So we can get that off the board. And Diala did a great job taking out the elite death trooper. So I think that's this one, yep. Alright, so that one's defeated. Which means Diala's activation's done. We need to move over to the app since it looks like we have Imperial units left to activate. So we'll end Diala's activation. Okay, so the Black Death Trooper is activating. Move 4 to attack the closest healthy rebel, which it can get to. Move 2 to reposition 3. Move 6 to reposition 3. Then tactical comms, the closest figure, the highest cost Imperial figure without focused becomes focused, which is actually the regular, it's either the regular Death Trooper or the Probe Droid. I think we'll give it to the Death Trooper, just because it's attacking right now, and it gains a surge. So we'll move the Death Trooper back over to the board. We'll see that he can attack Diala. So 1, 2, 3. We'll roll his attack. He attacks with red and a yellow. Diala defends with a white. Tip up just a... Let me see if I can... I might have to zoom... Actually, I think I got it there. We've got Diala and the Death Trooper down toward the bottom of the shot, and then the Dice Tower up here, so this will all work. That is a total miss. That is the first time I've ever seen that in this scenario. So we definitely would have taken a lot of damage, except Diala managed to get a complete miss. Then he'll move 2 to reposition 3. So we'll tip the camera down. We'll go 1, 2, and we'll reposition like that. So he also gains a surge. What does the surge do? +2 accuracy and pierce 1. So again, with a total miss, it wouldn't have done anything anyway. So we'll finish that. And then what is Jin doing? Jin has an activation left. Do I want to try to start landing on this? I should probably finish this probe droid off. So I'm going to give her movement take a move action, which will give her 4 movement points. Actually 5. So move 1. Then we'll shoot the probe droid. With 2 green, defend with a black. I'll do that so I don't confuse myself. We'll tip up so we get the Dice Tower. So the surge will turn into a damage. Actually, the surge needs to turn into an accuracy. Actually, no, it doesn't need to turn. We did roll enough accuracy. So I can turn into a damage as those cancel out. And then the probe droid is defeated. So that can come off the board. So that pincer sort of worked. I'm not going to say it was a total success, but it was more of a success than I was expecting it to be there. So he's got all that. Bring these down here. I'm just doing a little bit of rearranging of my health tracking off camera. Jin can move 1. So I'll move her up there, and I'll have her start falling back toward the base with the rest of her speed. So 2, 3, 4, 5. And then that's it for Jin's turn, so that'll bring us over to the app, which will end her activation. The Imperial officer now activates. Before this activation, the highest cost Imperial figure that isn't already focused becomes focused. Alright, so BT6 is already focused. The Death Trooper is focused as well, which means he will become focused himself. Let's see. Order, another Imperial figure with cost 3 or less, attacks the healthy rebel closest to this figure, which is actually the Death Trooper. So the Death Trooper will attack the Death Trooper will actually attack Diala. We'll move back over to the board so we can see that. I'll have to zoom out to get the Dice Tower. Actually, we can move the Dice Tower down here. Yeah, we'll do that. So the Death Trooper attacks with a red and a yellow. Diala defends with a white. How about a total miss, Diala? He needs at least 3 accuracy, so we've got a couple of ways to do that. Two accuracy, so the attack actually falls flat. The attack actually falls short. Then on his activation, he'd move 3 to try to attack Jin, except he is nowhere near Jin. So he just moves 2 to reposition 5, which will be a move of 2 like so. Actually, we're moving him into difficult terrain. Then he moves 6 to reposition 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then cower if not within 3 spaces of a rebel. Recover 2 health, except he's already at full strength with BT6 out there. So that'll bring us back to the app and we'll finish his activation. More Imperial forces come bursting out of the jungle because of course they do. What do we get here? We get sentry droids. So I'll have to go find those. I'll shut the camera off and I'll be right back. Alright, so here's our sentry droid. Cost of 6, which is once again something I need to be sensitive to. 5 health, 4 speed, defends with a black die, and attacks with 2 green dice. We'll give that a purple identifier. That deploys here. Alright.
Alert all commands.
Another Imperial officer. We can't get away from this guy. Alright, so at least its figure's out already. Or at least its card is out already, so I don't have to go digging that out. And I thought I had... I must put him back in the box already. There we go. We'll assign him purple. I'll give him the 2 identifier. So he deploys here, which is right next to Dialis. She may land on him like a 1,000-pound bomb, but I'll point that out when we move back over to the board, or when we move back over to the board. And up there we've got another probe droid. We'll assign that a black identifier this time. So, okay, so there's the probe droid. We'll give it a 3 actually, since the 1 and the 2 are already out. 3. Confirm that. Uh-oh. Through the smoke and haze from the blaster fire, you see the outline of a dark, imposing figure striding out of the jungle. It is not until a glowing red blade appears in the figure's hand that you realize a Dark Lord of the Sith has arrived. You know that you have no chance of defeating Darth Vader. Deploy Darth Vader. Darth Vader cannot be defeated. Not by mere rebels, anyway. And anybody who knows that breathing sound knows and fears it. And as we'll see once I fish out Lord Vader's card... Ah, here we are. We'll see that he is not somebody to be trifled with at all. So there's Darth Vader's mini and his card. 18 cost, so he's an expensive boy. 16 health, but we can't defeat him anyway. 4 speed, defends with 2 black, and attacks with 2 red and a yellow. So, yeah. He deploys right here. We'll give him blue identification, even though we're probably not touching him in a million years. Alright, so we'll continue that. Only 2 transports have yet to depart, Lieutenant Talcon says over the comlink. Keep standing strong. That's round 5, so we'll take a quick look at the board just to see where everything ended up at the end of all that mess. So here's the Imperial officer that came out right next to Dialis, so I may land on him like a 1,000-pound bomb. The sentry droid's over here, right near the Imperial officer and right next to Darth Vader who came out. Then we've got the other probe droid up here. And, yeah, we're going to be in for it here. So with that, let's get into round 5 and see if we can survive. I think the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to activate Diala first. So she's going to turn on this Imperial officer right here and try to put her lightsaber in his neck. So green and a yellow. The Imperial officer defends with a white. Okay, so we do a damage and stun. So we'll spend both of our surges for damage and stun him. So that Imperial officer takes 2, and he's stunned, but I don't expect he's going to survive this. So 2 and stunned. Then we'll run it back. Yeah, we'll run it back. Total miss. That's unfortunate. Okay, I can only use that while defending. I didn't have the strain to re-roll to try to take the defense die out. Otherwise, I probably would have. But we can move over to the app, and hopefully we don't get anything too bad happening to us. So Diala will end her activation. And BT1's going to activate. Oh joy! Gain +1 damage. Missile salvo. This figure's actions do not require line of sight or accuracy because he's using a missile salvo, of course. Move 4 to attack rebel troopers using a single red die. Attack the closest rebel within 5 spaces that has not already been attacked using a single yellow die. Attack the closest rebel within 5 spaces that has not been attacked using a single blue die. Then move 2 to reposition 4 and 6 to reposition 4. So, do not require line of sight or accuracy. Okay, so we'll move 4. It'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 to attack rebel troopers using a single red die. So we'll bring the dice tower back in shot. We're going to attack number 3 rebel trooper because it's closest. And remember, we don't need line of sight or accuracy. Ouch! So number 3 just takes a missile to the face and bites the dust. Then we'll attack the closest rebel within 5 spaces that has not already been attacked using a single yellow die. Let's see. 2, 3. That'll be number 4 using a yellow. And then we'll be attacking the 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll roll both of them at the same time. So the yellow die is for orange 4. The blue die is for orange 2. And does nothing. Actually, how does it spend surges? Pierce 2, blast. Okay, so it'll spend a surge. I think it spends it on each attack. So he'll do blast 1 on both of them. It looks like so they'll both end up taking 2 damage. That's a problem. Actually, let me see. I'm guessing that's how blast works. Let's see if there's. Blast, here we go. If the target of this figure's attack suffers 1 or more damage, so it's got to suffer damage first, so never mind. Alright, so since neither rebel trooper took damage from the attack, they actually don't take any damage from the 2 surges. Alright, then move 2 to reposition 4, but I think we'll just move him 1, 2, and that'll be how we reposition 4. Alright, so we're done there. Whoa. Okay, so wow. There's so much going on the app that we have to actually scroll for it. So we'll go ahead and activate the rebel troopers next, mostly because I want to try to take out this probe droid. So number 2 will attack first using a blue and a yellow. Probe droid defends with a black. Cancel a surge, and we didn't roll enough accuracy anyway, so never mind that. Run it back. Confound it all. Blue die fell again. This time we did roll enough accuracy. We'll pierce the block, and the probe droid will take 1 damage. Let me see if I can go find that die quickly. We'll have to move over to the app when I come back. So the Rebel Troopers activation is done. We only have 2 of them. Vader's activating. Oh joy. Apply +1 damage to each attack. At the end of this figure's activation, this figure suffers 2 damage. This figure discards each harmful condition, but it doesn't have any. Brutality. Move 4 to engage 2 or more rebels, then attack each adjacent rebel, but I don't think he can. Move 4 to attack Diala. Can't do that either, I don't think. Force Choke. Move 2 toward Diala. Then that figure suffers 2 damage and a strain. Then move 6 toward the closest non-ready hero. Alright, so he can't do Brutality because he can't move 4 to engage 2 or more rebels. He'd move 4 to attack Diala, but he can't do that either. Then he moves 2 toward Diala. Okay, so he can do the last 2. So we'll bring him over here. We'll zoom out. So he'll move 2 toward Diala. So 1, 2. Then she'll suffer 2 damage and a strain, which will bring her up to full strain. So resting is probably going to be something I'm going to be considering here in a minute, once we get back to Diala's activation, but that'll be a while. Then he moves 6 toward the closest non-ready hero. The closest non-ready hero, I believe, is the one who has an activation available. Eligible to be activated, so he's moving 6 toward Jin. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which is taking him right into the base. That's going to be bad. And I don't think and since we can't defeat him anyway, we're not going to be able to drive him off the board. But anyway, his activation finishes. And then we have Jin to activate, who's got a huge problem on her hands right now. She's got Vader bearing down on her. But I think she'll be able to give him the slip here. She'll move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then she'll take a shot at the Imperial officer. So she shoots with 2 green. He defends with a white. Actually, let me make sure. I should be able to move diagonally past enemies. Cannot move through the... Can move through figures' spaces. Okay, yeah, looks like we can... So we can get around him. That'll work. So now we'll roll for the attack on the Imperial officer, and we need at least 3 accuracy. We roll 3 accuracy, but we also roll a complete miss. Delightful. So that's the end of Jin's activation, which will bring us back over to the app. Sentry droids activate. Survival subroutine. At the end of this figure's activation, this figure gains a banked surge cancel. Charged shot. Gain +1 damage and +4 accuracy. Yikes. Figures do not block this figure's line of sight. Okay, so it wants to move 2 to attack rebel troopers, but it can't attack rebel troopers. Can't get line of sight. So it moves 3 to reposition 4, and then 5 more to reposition 4. Then gains a banked, I believe that's a banked... Okay, that's a banked hit, so the next time it actually does make an offensive roll, it'll spend that to get an extra damage. So we'll move back over to the board. Yeah, so move back over here. Like I said, he can't move. He also gains a banked surge block, so let me get that. I'm dropping everything today. So there's the banked surge block. That's going on the sentry droid. Moving 3 to reposition 4. 1, 2, 3. 3. We'll do that. And then it's actually going to just stay where it is. And we gave it the other banked damage. So that activation's done for the sentry droid. Which brings us back to our heroes. We'll have Diala try again to take out this Imperial officer. Green and a yellow. Defends with a white. Can we not have another total miss, please, Diala? Actually, let's rest first. Just get rid of all of her strain. That way I can use... Actually, this way I can use her 2 strain to cancel out the white die for the Imperial officer. Duh! Why didn't I... That's the way we'll do that. And that's enough damage to take out the purple Imperial officer. So we'll just get rid of him. I'm hoping we only need to last like another turn or 2 here before the scenario is over, but we have defeated the purple Imperial officer. It took me both of Diala's attacks to... No, it took me both of Diala's actions to do it, but it didn't take me both of her... It took me her only attack to do it, so let's move back over to the app and see which figure in this mess we're activating next. So Diala's done. The Black Death Trooper is activating. Security detail. At the start of this activation, the highest cost Imperial figure that does not already have a banked block gains a block. Gee, with an 18 cost, I wonder who that could be. That sounds like Darth Vader gets a banked block to me, but what do I know? Alright, so there's that. Moving 3 to attack the closest healthy rebel, except he can already attack the closest healthy rebel. Then he'll move 2 to reposition 3, which is also fine. Then he'll move 6 to reposition 3. Tactical comms. The highest figure cost Imperial figure without focused becomes focused. Well, that sounds like Vader once again. Moving back over to the board, we'll see the Death Trooper attacking Diala. With a red and a yellow, Diala will defend with a white. How about some of that total miss magic for us, Diala? That would be nice. So of course we don't get that. How does he spend surges? +2 accuracy, piercing 1. Actually, he does need to spend the surge for accuracy, but Diala will take 3 damage coming out of that, which is rather problematic, but there's no help for it at this point, so that brings her up to 5. And then what is Jyn doing? I think Jyn is probably just going to try to take out the Imperial officer. She might have to quick draw on him to try to take him out. 2 green, defend with a white. I've been forgetting about her quick draw. God bless it. This time I do need to go find the green die. Okay, so yeah, that's something I do need to figure out for the future is how to block the... I think doing it like that. We cancel this. He cancels the surge. Actually, I think... What's the timing on how surges get spent? Each evade removes 1. Okay, so it looks like they get canceled out, which means we can't spend the surge for the last accuracy that we need, so the attack falls short. Then we'll run it back. Evade cancels another surge, but this time we rolled enough accuracy, and the Black Imperial officer has been defeated. Alright, I'm going to keep that close just in case it spawns another Imperial officer on the board. Then we can move over to the app to end Jyn's activation. That took way more effort than it needed to, but Jyn's activation is over. So the Black Probe Droid will activate. Move 3 to attack the closest healthy rebel, which it can already do. It can attack the rebel troopers. Self-destruct, it hasn't suffered enough damage for that. Then move 2 to reposition 3, which will also be fine. Then it would move 4 to reposition 3, but it's going to attack first. So the probe droid attacks with a blue and 2 yellow. The rebel troopers defend with a white. Alright, evade cancels the surge, plenty of accuracy. How does it spend surges? On other damage. So Rebel Trooper 2 takes... Rebel Trooper 2 is defeated. So we'll take that off the board. Okay, so we had another Pierce 1, not that it mattered. So anyway, that should be the last figure's activations. Let's see what happens with end of round. More Imperial forces come bursting out of the jungle, because of course they do. Sentry droids are on the map. We have 1. So we reinforce 1 sentry droid, which means we basically spawn another one. So there's that. And we had another probe droid, of course we do. Good thing I kept that close. We'll make this blue. We'll give it the 2 identifier. So that will go there.
It's them. Blast them.
And elite stormtroopers. They'll probably be able to shoot straight, knowing my luck, but he's also landing right next to Diala, where the other Imperial officer went. So here's the elite stormtrooper. $9 cost on the stormtrooper. Oh wait, I think I've been doing this wrong the whole time, haven't I? I'm pretty sure that's the number of units that's supposed to be deployed. Group limit. Okay, so yeah, I think that's actually the number of figures that's supposed to be on the maximum number of figures that's supposed to be on the board. So I think we're fine there. I might be wrong about that, but you can point it out in the comments section down below. But anyway, we'll take a look at the elite stormtroopers. 9 cost for them, 5 health, 4 speed, 3 defense, or defend with a black die, and attack with a blue and a green. So we'll put that there, and then for an identifier, we'll give it purple. Okay. Just 1 transport left, Lieutenant Talcon calls over the comlink. Hold on just a little longer. Well, I hope we can. We're just getting blasted here. Minor peril. The oppressive jungle heat saps your strength. Each hero may test might. Each hero that does not pass suffers 1 strain. Okay, so I think we have to test this. So we'll move over to the dice tower. Jin has a single blue die, and here we're looking for surges. Jin suffers a strain. Diala's might roll is a little better. Hers is a blue and a green. Alright, so we do get the surges, which means Diala's fine. Alright, so let's make sure there's nothing else on the app. Round 6. With only one transport left to get out, I feel like this should be it. So with that, let's move back over to the board and figure out how we're going to get ourselves out of this mess. I'm hoping that the app doesn't care about Darth Vader having basically a clear shot into the base right here, because I do not want any part of getting attacked by him. So what to do? Do I want to have Jin try to take out BT1? We could try it. It's a bit of a crazy plan, but I've done crazier things. So yeah, we'll have Jin go ahead and take a shot at it at BT0 or BT1. So that's right here. We attack with 2 green. BT1 defends with a black, but he's got a banked block. We roll plenty of accuracy. We'll spend the banked block but BT1 will still take 3 damage. And then Jin will move a little bit closer to make it easier to shoot. Actually, she'll move here, so line of sight is less of a problem. And we'll try that, and I'll do that again. Plenty of accuracy. The surge, yeah, we got enough accuracy. We had line of sight as well. So 1, 2. Alright, so we have enough accuracy. We'll use the surge for a damage to cancel out the block. And then BT1 will take another 3 damage. So that'll bring it up to 6. Alright, then that is Jin's first activation, so that'll bring us back over to the app. Zoom in a touch. Jin's activation's done. Darth Vader, oh joy. Force push. At the start of this figure's activation, push the closest rebel 2 spaces toward this figure, which actually looks to be the rebel troopers, but we'll do that in a second. Brutality. Move forward to engage 2 or more rebels, then attack each adjacent rebel. Move forward to attack the healthy rebel that has suffered the least damage. Force choke. Move 2 toward the healthy rebel that has suffered the least damage. Then that figure suffers 2 damage and a strain. Move 6 toward the closest non-ready hero. So right now that would be Diala. But as we move back over to the board, we see Vader's right here, so it's not giving him a clear path to the base. Move forward to engage 2 or more rebels. He cannot do that because we're all scattered to hell in creation here. As I'll zoom out, we've got Jin, Diala, and the rebel troopers over here. Actually, he pulls the rebel troopers over first. Let's see. So he can't do that, but he can attack the healthy rebel that has suffered the least damage. Basically, red, slaughter the closest rebel. So 2 red and a yellow for Darth Vader. This is going to be a problem. Defends with a white. And here's where we pray for a complete... Well, I don't know if I mind this last rebel trooper biting it. They've been useful, but... Okay, so he spends surges as Pierce 3. Yikes. So actually, the evade cancels a surge. The evade cancels the surge. We have a block, but the rebel trooper still just gets obliterated. So I'll have to make sure I defeat them on the next activation, or when I get back over to the app. Okay, then Force Choke, move 2 toward the healthy rebel that has suffered the least damage. Then that figure suffers 2 damage and a strain. That will actually be Diala. So 1, 2. So Diala will then suffer 2 damage and a strain, which will bring her up to 7 damage and 3 strain. And then move 6 toward the closest non-ready hero, who's actually Jin. So Jin's not eligible to be activated, which means she's got a Dark Lord of the Sith bearing down on her. The only consolation for her is that she's not attacking. That she's not being attacked. Alright, then Diala. I think Diala is going to land on the Stormtroopers while she's right here. So she attacks with a green and a yellow. They defend green and a yellow. They defend with a black. Wow, that's a lot of blocks. And I think stun requires them suffering damage. Conditions on page 9. Must suffer 1 or more damage. Okay, so we don't get to actually apply the condition because no damage was dealt. So I guess we'll run the attack back then. That's more like it. So the Stormtroopers will suffer 2 damage because we did get a block in there. Block cancel out damage, so the Stormtroopers take 2 damage. So we'll move back over to the app to end Diala's activation. The Stormtroopers activate. After this group's activation, reinforce 1 defeated figure from this group as close as possible to another figure in this group. So I have been doing this wrong all along. So it looks like I should have had 3 Stormtroopers in the group. So there's the other 2. That seems way broken. Never mind that at this point. Okay, so 2, 3, 4. Okay, this game has been problematic enough, but... Okay, so last stand... Okay, I think we've been mostly fine, except for the sentry droid, but no help for that at this point. If there are fewer than 3 figures in this group, which there are not, so 2 is the one that's got 2 damage on it. Okay, so there are 3 figures in the group, so it doesn't become focused. Move 4 to attack Diala, so 2 and 4 can already do that, which means Diala is basically getting surrounded here. Then they're going to move 2 to reposition 4, and then move another 6 to reposition 4. So we'll move over to the board here. We'll roll for 2 and 4 first. So they attack with blue and a green. Diala defends with a white. Alright, so the evade would have canceled the surge. The evade cancels the surge, and they rolled plenty of accuracy. So Diala, how do they spend... Well, it's going to matter for the other Stormtroopers in the group, but Diala takes 3 damage from that, going up to 10. Then we'll roll for 4's attack. Actually, see if we can zoom this out just a touch. We can. There's a total miss, so that's very welcome there. 3 will move 1 and then attack Diala as well. Right, and plenty of accuracy, not that it was needed. Cancel the surge turns into more damage, which the block cancels out, but Diala still takes 3 damage. So that brings you up to 13 health. 13. Okay. Alright, so then they move 2 to reposition 4. So, okay, 1, 2. 1, 2. Actually, yeah, 1, 2, and 1, 2. Mostly just to get them out of the difficult terrain. So they're done. Okay, I gotta remember to defeat the rebel troopers. Because Vader took them out like nobody's business. Jin, I think we're gonna run back that attack on BT1 for Jin. So we'll need 2 green for her. Defend with a black. Knock the probe droid over, which is not what I had in mind. Roll enough accuracy, but I think the probe droid was there. Roll enough accuracy, and the probe droid takes, and BT1 takes 1 damage. Which will then move her up close and personal. She'll run the attack back. Hopefully we can take BT1 out, but I'm not completely betting on it. Oh, look at that. We actually did take BT1 out. Because that's enough damage, and we didn't need to really be all that concerned about accuracy. Alright, so BT1 has been defeated. And that will end Jin's activation. So we'll come back over to the app. Okay, the blue probe droid activates, gaining Pierce 1. Move 3 to attack the closest healthy rebel. Okay, let me get BT1 off the board. Move 3 to attack the closest healthy rebel, except it already can. Then it would self-destruct, but it hasn't suffered any damage. So it'll just move 2 to reposition 3. So moving back over to the board, we see that the probe droid does in fact have very unrestricted line of sight on Jin. So it will attack. A blue and 2 yellow. Jin will defend with a white. Okay, so get plenty of accuracy. The evade cancels a surge. Jin takes 3 damage, so that brings her up to 10. Which once again isn't wounding territory yet because of the extra 10 health for the main heroes. Then moves 2 to reposition 3, but it's already 3 spaces away, so we're fine there. And then we have Diala up last. Alright, so Diala is going to go after this stormtrooper right here. Green and a yellow defends with a black. Wow. And we'll slam right into a wall there. I guess we'll run it back then. And once again, we'll slam into another wall. Let me give that, just as I'm doing this by the book, 5. Alright, so Diala's activation's over, which brings us back over to the app. Alright, so the black probe droid activates, moving 3 to attack the closest healthy rebel, except it can't get close enough to attack anybody. Self-destruct doesn't happen either. Then it moves 2 to reposition 3, and then move 4 to reposition 3. So coming back over to the board will be 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3. All right, back over to the app. The Black Death Trooper gains a surge. He can already attack the closest healthy rebel, which he'll do that with Diala once we move back over to the board. Then move 2 to reposition 3. Then the highest figure cost Imperial figure without focused becomes focused, which will be the elite stormtroopers. So moving back over to the board. He'll move. I'll actually move 1 to get a little better line. Actually, he can move even. Yeah, he can move 1 to get to Diala without being blocked by the Stormtrooper. By being blocked by Stormtrooper 4. Red and yellow. Diala defends with a white. Get these out of tower. We actually lose a surge. The attack actually falls short. And he's already 3 spaces away, so that's fine. So they're all done there. Then the sentry droids, at the start of this figure's activation, this figure gains a banked, a banked surge. So there's a banked surge for each sentry droid. Charged shot, gain +1 accuracy and +1 damage and plus... Let's move back over to the app so we can see that. Charged shot, the figure gains +1 damage and +4 accuracy. I'll read it right one of these days. Figures don't block this figure's line of sight. Move 2 to attack Jin, except I don't think they can. So they're just going to move 3 to reposition 4, and then 5 to reposition another 4. And gaining a banked hit. Actually, I take that back. They can attack Jin. So Jin's about to get rocked. Unless we got a couple of lucky... white die rolls. But I think we'll spend... How much health do they have? 5 health? It's probably not even worth trying to quick shot them. I was saving that for BT, but I took him out naturally. So the sentry droid attacks with, looks like 2 green? Yes, 2 green. Jin defends with a white. Evade cancels the surge, but Jin takes... Yep, we rolled enough accuracy, so evade cancels the surge, Jin takes 3. Then we'll roll the attack for droid 1. This needs even less accuracy. This needs only accuracy of 2. Alright, there's a block. Jin takes another 3, which brings her up to 16 health. Or 16 damage on her. Then they'll move 3 to reposition 4. So 1, 2, 3, 3. 1, 2, 3. Something like that. And then they'll gain a banked hit. They'll gain another banked hit, which they probably could have spent for all of that, but we're all done there. So the scenario should be over. Let's move over to the app. That's it. The last chip is off, Lieutenant Talcon shouts excitedly. Great work. Get yourselves to safety. You retreat through the base to your ship and quickly get aboard. Your pilot is already there, ready to take off as soon as everyone is accounted for. When the last of your team comes aboard, the small freighter takes off and rockets out of the docking bay. Your ship comes alongside the medium transport Freedom Fighter, and the 2 ships leave Yavin 4's atmosphere, only to come face to face with an Imperial Star Destroyer. Fortunately, the Star Destroyer is already preoccupied hauling in another transport, allowing both your ship and the Freedom Fighter to make their escape into hyperspace. Thanks to your heroic efforts, all of the remaining transports had enough time to take off before the Imperials could reach them. Alright, so we managed to complete that scenario. And we did unlock the Mandalorian helmet, which I will have to grab that later. What did I do with my pen? I had a pen here. There it is. I don't really want to dig through everything, but I'll talk more about that once we close everything up on the app. Because we're about to move back up top to wrap this video up. The iPad was definitely nightmarishly difficult to read, so I don't see myself jumping into this as a potential background campaign. If you have any suggestions on how I can maybe make the iPad work a little better on the channel, I'll welcome those down in the comments down below. So, again, keep the feedback constructive though, please. I do welcome constructive criticism, but I don't tolerate personal insults on the channel. So, yeah, just like I said, just keep it constructive, please. But that will do it for this playthrough of Star Wars Imperial Assault. We're still leaning into my wargame list this month, and 2 of those games are getting ready to take center stage this week. Wednesday, we'll be playing Metal Dawn from Everything Epic Games, and Sunday will feature the first of 4 GMT games on the list as we play Atlantic Chase. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care, everyone.